John Denver's murder has been solved, and it's not good news. H. John Deutschendorf Jr. was born John Denver on December 31, 1943, in Roswell, New Mexico. His father was a pilot in the U.S. Air Force, and he grew up in it. Denver moved around a lot as a child, living in different places across the country. During these early years, he felt like he didn't have any roots, and developed a deep respect for the vastness and natural beauty of the American landscape. These were the kinds of feelings that would later shape his songwriting. John Denver fell in love with music at a young age. When he was 11, his grandmother gave him his first guitar. That small gift changed her whole life. Denver found his own musical style while he was at Texas Tech University. He was influenced by artists like Elvis Presley and folk singers from the 1960s. He eventually moved to Los Angeles to try to make it as a musician. He changed his name to Denver to honor the capital city of Colorado, which he loved and often sang about in songs. Denver's big break came in 1969, when the song he wrote for Peter, Paul and Mary, Leaving on a Jet Plane, became a big hit. The success of the song made him known as a good singer, and he soon became famous as a performer in his own right. Take Me Home, Country Roads, Annie's Song, Rocky Mountain High, Sunshine on My Shoulders, and Thank God I'm a Country Boy were just a few of John Denver's many popular hits in the 1970s. Some of these songs made him famous all over the world. These songs mixed folk, country and pop styles to make a sound that is instantly familiar. They showed the heart and soul of America's natural beauty and human emotion. Denver's warm tenor voice and acoustic guitar make the music stand out. Before he died in 1988, John Denver was a famous singer-songwriter and all-around artist who was in a lot of movies and TV shows in the 1970s. One of his most famous parts was in the hit movie Oh God, 1977, which he shared with the legendary comedian George Burns. The movie did well at the box office and showed off Denver's natural charm and kindness, in addition to his musical skills. His kind, honest performance on screen went well with Burns' funny lines and helped make Oh God a beloved classic with a good mix of funny and serious themes. Denver's roles in TV specials and other movies during the height of his career showed how famous he was and how well he could connect with people through different forms of media. Many people remember John Denver mostly as a singer, but he kept making music well into the 1990s, changing his sound while staying true to the folk and country roots that made him famous. At this point in time, his work showed how much he cared about environmental issues. Denver fought hard to protect wildlife and natural areas, and he often used his songs and public profile to bring attention to environmental problems. He fought hard for environmental protection and eco-friendly living because he strongly believed that the earth should be kept safe for future generations. In addition to working to protect the environment, Denver was a strong supporter of space exploration. He was amazed by the idea that people could travel the universe. This desire was more than just a curiosity. He spoke out and used his power to get people to fund and support NASA and other space projects. He did this because he believed that exploration was an important step for human progress. John Denver also made a big splash when he spoke out against music control. At a time when some artists were told they had to change their music or risk losing airplay, Denver spoke out against censorship and for artistic freedom in front of the U.S. Congress. His testimony showed how much he cared about artistic expression and how he thought music should be able to connect people, inspire them and lead to truth without being limited by rules. Denver's work on these political and social problems showed a more serious side of him, one of principled activism and civic engagement that went beyond his work in entertainment. John Denver's deep love for Colorado, a state whose natural beauty had a big impact on his songs and way of life, was a big part of who he was. He decided to spend most of his adult life in Aspen, Colorado, because the beautiful Rocky Mountains and active outdoor community there gave him ideas. Aspen was more than just a house. Denver got a lot of new and creative energy from it, who often wrote songs about the spirit and scenery of the area. Denver was named the official poet laureate of the state of Colorado in 1974 in honor of his gifts to culture and his personification of the state's spirit. By writing beautiful stories with beautiful images, he helped improve Colorado's image and share its beauty. Denver's link to Colorado will live on forever in his music, especially with the song Rocky Mountain High, which showed how much he loved and admired the mountains and the wild. The Colorado State Legislature made Rocky Mountain High one of the state songs in 2007. This was because the song was so closely linked to the state and its people. Not only did the choice honor Denver's art, but it also brought to mind the beauty of Colorado's wild world. In the same way, his song Take Me Home, Country Roads became a symbol for West Virginia. It showed a deep longing for home and nostalgia that reached far beyond Denver's own roots. West Virginia honored the song by making it one of its official state songs in 2014. This added to John Denver's lasting impact on American music and society. Denver wasn't just a musician. He also worked hard to protect the earth and help people in need. People learned about protection, world hunger, and peace through his fame. In the 1970s and 1980s, he started the WinStar Foundation, a group that works to teach people about the environment and promote sustainability. He was also a spokesperson for UNICEF and worked hard for social causes around the world. His music often showed what he believed in. It praised the earth, encouraged love and togetherness, and told people to take care of the world around them. Denver's charismatic personality was felt in places other than the studio and at concerts. He was a well-known TV host of shows like The John Denver Special, where his warm, friendly personality and genuine relationship with viewers shone through. Besides singing, he tried acting, and was in a number of movies and TV shows, showing how flexible and appealing he was. He married Annie Martell for the first time in 1967. Annie was born in St. Peter, Minnesota, and lived with Denver. She was also his muse and the source of some of his most famous songs. During the early stages of Denver's work as an artist, their relationship grew. Annie's presence gave him emotional support as his career took off. He wrote the emotional ballad Annie's Song in an amazing 10 minutes while sitting on a ski lift in Colorado. It was one of his most famous songs that was directly inspired by Annie. This sudden flash of creative genius perfectly showed how much he loved and appreciated Annie, showing a deep and peaceful link to her and the beauty of the world around them. The couple lived in Edina, Minnesota, from 1968 to 1971. It was a suburban area which was different from Denver's later love of the mountains, but it was a safe base for him as he became famous. As Denver's fame grew, especially after the music video for Rocky Mountain High came out, his love for nature and the mountains grew. He wrote this song after a memorable camping trip he took with Annie and some close friends. The trip rekindled his love of nature and became a key theme in much of his music and public persona. Because of this link, Denver bought a house in Aspen, Colorado, a place that had the rough natural landscape he loved and would live in for the rest of his life. Denver found refuge in Aspen. It was there that he could get away from the stresses of fame and enjoy the beauty of the Rocky Mountains. The Denvers got 2 more children through adoption, making their family bigger. A son named Zachary John and a girl named Anna Kate. Denver often talked about how these adoptions felt like fate, saying that Zachary and Anna Kate were supposed to be theirs. This made them feel like they had a deep spiritual connection and a reason for living their family life. Being a father was a very important part of Denver's character. He would say, "Let me tell you the best thing about myself. I'm a guy's dad. I'm the dad of a little girl. Being Zachary John and Anna Kate's father boy is enough to remember me by when I die. That's enough." His comment showed that above all else, being a loving father was the most important thing to him, followed by music and fame. Denver's song "A Baby Just Like You" was inspired by Zachary. The sweet line "Merry Christmas, Little Zachary" is from that song. Denver wrote this song for Frank Sinatra, but it has a lot to do with his own life. John Denver and Annie Martell were married for 36 years, but their marriage ended in 1982, even though they had a lot of love and children together. The expectations and pressures of Denver's rapidly rising career were a big reason why they broke up. In a candid interview from 1983 that was used in the documentary John Denver, Country Boy 2013, Denver talked about how the constant demands of his work had made it hard for them to stay close and intimate as they used to be. Annie Martell later gave her opinion, saying that she thought they were too young and immature to handle John's sudden fame and the changes it brought to their lives. Not only was their divorce painful, but there was also a time that stood for a lot of things. Denver used a hacksaw to cut their marriage bed in half to show how their shared assets were being split. This dramatic act brought out the raw and painful truth of their breakup and Denver's complicated, sometimes rash personality. Denver fell in love again after a while. He married Australian actor Cassandra Delaney in 1988 after dating for 2 years. As they moved into Denver's beloved home in Aspen, Colorado, their relationship looked good. Denver's life as a dad has grown since he and his wife had a girl named Jessie Bell. The couple did not stay married for long though. They split up in 1991 and got a divorce in 1993. Denver was very honest and angry about how he felt about his second marriage. He once said, "Before our short-lived marriage ended in divorce, she was able to fool me from one end of the valley to the other." This comment hinted at the personal problems and emotional turmoil he went through during the relationship. It showed a more complicated and painful side of his private life that was different from the kind, nature-loving persona he created through his music. There was a lot of uncertainty, rumors and unanswered questions about John Denver's sudden and tragic death for many years. Fans and outsiders alike were curious about what really happened on October 16, 1997, when the famous singer-songwriter died in a plane crash. He was loved for his soft voice, moving lyrics, and close link to nature. The puzzle has finally been solved after years of researching, hearing from people who were there, and careful examination of what happened before the accident. But it turns out that the truth is much scarier than anyone thought. John Denver was a skilled pilot, but on October 12, 1997, something terrible happened while he was flying his own experimental plane, the Rutan Long-Easy. At first, the official reports said it was either a pilot error or a mechanical problem. But as time went on, more complicated facts came to light. Investigators found that Denver had been having serious problems with the controls in the pilot. The fuel choice valve was specifically in the wrong place, which caused the engine to run out of fuel. The engine broke down in the middle of the flight, which is what caused the plane to crash into the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California. But more research showed that there were deeper flaws. There were design flaws in the plane that weren't fully explained or known about, and the safety measures weren't good enough. Reports say that John Denver had worried about problems with the fuel system before the flight, but he did not get the right help or repairs. This carelessness and the fact that the plane's maker didn't provide enough support all played a big role in the fatal accident. On top of the mechanical reasons, the mystery also involves John Denver's private life in the years before he died. In public, he was known for his happy songs and work to protect the environment, but behind the scenes, he was having a very hard time. He had to deal with mental illness, the stress of fame, and confusing personal relationships, including a hard divorce that left scars that will never go away. There are stories that he was depressed and under a lot of stress, both of which could have affected his decision-making that day. People have thought that drugs or alcohol may have played a role in the crash, but there has never been solid proof to support this. It looks like the tragedy was caused by a terrible mix of technology problems and weak people, an unfair mix that killed a man who inspired millions. One of the most upsetting things about this news is how it changes John Denver's legacy. For years, his fans have held on to the idea of him as a good nature-loving singer who got along with everyone else. Knowing that ignored safety signs and possible mistakes in judgment may have led to his death, on the other hand, makes the story more bitter. Some critics also say that the tragedy could have been avoided if Denver had been given better training, better tools, or more thorough checks of his plane. There are uncomfortable questions about who is responsible and accountable here, not just the pilot but also the aviation industry's rules for experimental planes. There are a lot of lessons to be learned from the final answer to the John Denver puzzle. For fans, it's a painful reminder that skill and fame don't protect anyone from flaws or dangers they didn't see coming. For the aviation community, it shows how important it is to have strict safety rules, clear information about the risks of flying, and thorough pilot training, especially for people who fly experimental or home-built planes. In the past few years, John Denver's story has led to renewed calls for better pilot training and tighter oversight of light aircraft, with the goal of stopping tragedies like this from happening again. The somber case taught us a lot of important lessons that will help make sure that the tragic mystery doesn't happen again with other pilots or flight fans.